58 minutes. That's all it took for every single size of Alex Eala's new Nike shirt to vanish from the American Nike store. In that exact same window, Jannik Sinner's shirt was still sitting there. So was Carlos Alcaraz's. So was Aryna Sabalenka's. Nobody at Nike saw this coming. A 21-year-old ranked just inside the top 20 in women's tennis outsold two of the biggest names in men's tennis history with a plain $42 t-shirt and absolutely no warning. And here's what makes it even wilder. This was the very first time Nike had ever put her name on something sold through their main US store. Every release before this stayed local, tucked away in a single shop back in the Philippines, built for people who already knew her. This one dropped straight onto Nike.com, sitting on the same page as three of the sport's biggest stars. First real shot on the big stage, and it didn't just do fine. It broke the shelf completely. Within hours, entertainment outlets were writing about it. By morning, sports media had picked it up too. And once reporters actually compared notes, things got stranger. Same collection, same release day, 4 athletes on one page. Sinner had 2 shirts up, both untouched. Alcaraz is still available. Sabalenka's gear, sitting there too. And Alex's? Gone. Every size. Completely gone. Think about what that means. Companies like Nike don't hand out merchandise slots at random. Someone in a meeting decided all 4 of these players were worth backing commercially, which usually means they expected roughly similar results. Sinner is the #1 men's player alive right now. Alcaraz might be the single biggest draw under 25 in the sport. On paper, either of their shirts should have cleared first. Instead, on a random Tuesday in August, the smallest name on that list outran everybody, and nobody at Nike appears to have planned for it. It's worth asking why a sellout like this even becomes a headline. Merch drops happen in tennis constantly, and most disappear without anyone outside the fanbase noticing. Usually a shirt sells out because a brand printed a tiny batch on purpose and let it clear slowly over weeks. That's not news. What makes this different is the contrast sitting right next to it. 4 shirts. Same page. Same day. Only one of them behaved like it got hit by a wave nobody scheduled for. So what actually happened? It started with something almost too ordinary to matter. Alex posted a photo. Black shirt, a floral pattern running across the front, her name stitched down the back. She tagged Nike, added a short caption, and that was it. No countdown, no campaign, just an athlete showing off new gear the way athletes do 100 times a week without expecting anything unusual. Except that graphic wasn't random. It's a stylized sampaguita, the national flower of the Philippines, woven into vines across the chest and blooming bigger around her name on the back. That flower carries real weight back home. Purity, humility, a quiet strength that keeps growing no matter what gets thrown at it. Nike tied it to a phrase that's followed her campaigns all year. Once it grows, it cannot be stopped. On the shirt itself, the design sits tone on tone, black on black, barely visible unless you already know exactly what you're looking for. Which makes the sellout even stranger. People didn't buy this because it jumped off the screen. They bought it because they already knew what was hiding in the fabric. Within minutes, fans across the Philippines and Southeast Asia weren't just browsing Nike's US site, they were buying. Small sizes first, then mediums, then nothing left at all. If you don't follow tennis, here's the short version. Alex is Filipino, 21, and currently sits at the highest ranking any Filipino player has ever reached. That alone is a big deal. It still doesn't fully explain why one shirt disappeared while 3 others didn't. Here's the part most coverage glossed over. This wasn't a signature shoe deal or a multi-year sponsorship. It was a small, limited capsule release, nowhere near the production run reserved for someone like Sinner or Alcaraz. Brands use capsule drops to test the water before committing real money, which means Nike printed conservatively here, the way you would for someone they were still sizing up. On paper, this should have been the easiest shirt on that page to keep in stock. And not everyone even liked it. Some fans online called the design plain. A few used the word overpriced for a floral pattern and a name on the back. Normally that kind of pushback slows sales down. This time it didn't matter at all. It sold out anyway, complaints included, which tells you this wasn't a crowd won over by great design. It was a crowd that wanted the name, regardless of what the shirt looked like. Now here's where it gets bigger than one shirt. This same pattern has been showing up all year. Back when she was ranked around 140, barely known outside hardcore tennis circles, she had a breakout run in Miami, and her name jumped past the tennis bubble entirely, landing in group chats that had nothing to do with sports the day before. That's a different kind of attention than a ranking climb usually produces. A few weeks before the shirt dropped, she won her first WTA title, beating the world number 4 to do it. Afterward, she described fans messaging her from what felt like everywhere at once, all within minutes of each other. Not a slow trickle, a wave. Then Wimbledon happened, and she lost in the first round to the defending champion. A loss, and her name still pulled more conversation online that day than most of the winners combined. Weeks later at Cincinnati, she lost early again, nothing worth replaying, and days after that, her shirt still sold out in under an hour. No title attached, no headline win, which tells you something important. Whatever is driving this isn't tracking her scoreboard anymore. It's running on its own logic. A demand curve built on trophies is predictable. A demand curve built on identity, on what a name represents rather than what it just did, doesn't follow a calendar at all. So where does this go from here? The US Open starts within days, and Nike's listing has already briefly flipped to coming soon. One sellout could be written off as bad planning. A second one, right in front of everyone watching this time, stops being an accident and starts being a pattern confirming itself in real time. The real question isn't about one shirt anymore. It's whether the biggest brand in sports understands where the next wave of attention is actually coming from, or whether they are about to get caught off guard again, this time in front of millions of new eyes tuning in for the Open. Drop your prediction below. Sells out again before anyone even notices the restock, or does the moment finally slow down? A year ago, almost nobody outside the sport knew her name. Now Nike's checking their inventory. Stadiums are filling up in cities she's never played before, and the next test is only days away.